All right, so what is this? Tangent of 30 degrees.
1 over root 3.
Okay, so where are you getting that from?
That's from the 30, 60, 90 triangle.
Okay, so you can go off of what we know about 30 degrees. If you don't recall this sort of thing, and I always say you've got to nail down sine and cosine. If you can nail down sine and cosine, then everything else will come in time. So if I do sine of 30 degrees over cosine of 30 degrees, that's something that you should know. Tangent is sine over cosine. And then sine of 30 is just one of the ones you have to remember. So plus or minus is going to be 1/2 over root 3 over 2. And then if you do the reciprocal here, you get plus or minus 1 over root 3. Or root 3 over 3. Square root of 3 over 3. Either way, I'm going to leave it like that. So this is what we know so far, right?
It's -2 because you're in the S square.
We're in the second quadrant. All students take calculus. So only sine is positive here. That means tangent must be negative. That means this should be -1 over root 3. All right. Making sense? All right, I have some different questions to ask you now. Yeah. If cosine of theta equals 4/9, find the other 5 trig function values. We've done a problem like this before. And you know what? Let's make it -4/9 just for fun. Now, I've intentionally done something here that's incorrect, but I'm going to hope that you will help uncover what's incorrect about this. The problem as it is stated would not be a good question if I were to ask you this on a test. I think you'll see why in a minute, hopefully. Cosine of theta is -4/9. So I'm giving you a trig function. I'm not giving you the angle and asking you for the value, right? I'm telling you that cosine of some angle is this. And I want you to tell me what the other trig values are at that same angle. So, any ideas?
The first thing that's clear, like it is an angle, it's something between the second or the third quadrant.
You're thinking second or third quadrant?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so that is something that we should all recognize, is the fact that since all students take calculus and all trig functions are positive here and cosine's positive here, we can't be in these two quadrants, right? Which means we have to be in these two, right? One of these two. Now, good. So far I'm with you.
So you're going to have to be in the T or S.
What is the definition of cosine that I gave today? What's the definition? X over R, right? X over R? And don't I know that R is always positive? Okay. That would imply that X is -4, wouldn't it?
Yep, there's 9 for this.
And that 9 is our radius. So here's what I know so far. -4, I don't know what Y is, right? But my radius is 9. So can we draw that in here? Let's try and draw that. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's -4, right? That's my X coordinate. I don't know my Y, do I? But I know my radius is 9. So couldn't I do this, like, I don't know, somewhere up there? And that kind of looks like that radius would be 9, maybe? But is that the only thing I could do? I could have drawn one down here also. And that's why this is a bad question. Because I have not given you enough information for you to nail down which of these two it is. All right? Do y'all understand that? It could be either one of these two scenarios. And so the way the question is posed is bad. So when you do your homework, they're going to give you one other piece of information, something like this.
If you're trying to find the y by using the equation x squared plus y squared equals r squared, you're going to get y as positive, right?
Well, you would get a plus or minus. Let's do that. If you tried that right now, if you tried to use x squared plus y squared equals r squared, and you plugged in your x, you would get 16 here, right? Plus y squared equals 81. And then you'd subtract. So what's that going to give you? 65. And then you would have y is plus or minus root 65. This would be plus root 65. This would be minus root 65. And you don't have enough information to say which one it is. The reason why we didn't, do you remember why we threw out the minus last time, like in the previous classes? Because we were in the first quadrant. And we were forcing ourselves to only work with positive numbers. Now we can actually have negatives. So we cannot just eliminate the negative. So as stated, this is no good. Do you see you need one more piece of information for you to be able to do it? So I'm going to do this. And tangent theta is less than 0. That's another piece of information I've given you about this problem. That's going to be enough for you to nail it down. Why?
It's less than 0, so it has to be negative.
It has to be negative. I'm telling you, not only is cosine theta negative 4 over 9, but tangent of that same angle is negative. We already knew we couldn't be here. And in the, third quadrant, tangent's positive, right? So we can't be here either. So it has to be that scenario right there. It has to be. And because this has to be the scenario, you can now tell me what y is. It's the positive root 65.
I see.
You see that? So I should go back over here and finish this. This was plus or minus root 65. We'll work through another one of these completely from beginning to end. I just wanted to show you why this is not enough, why you can't get the other answers with just this. You have to have some other piece of information. All right, so we know this now, that this is the point negative 4 and positive root 65. And now from this, I should be able to get all the other trig functions, shouldn't I? Okay, so let's get them. What is sine theta?
Sine theta is y over r.
Y over r. So root 65 over 9. What about tangent theta?
Y over x.
Y over x. So y is root 65 over
4. Negative 4.
negative 4.
Yes.
Okay. And then cosine theta, well, we were given that, weren't we?
R over y.
So the other three trig functions, we just flip all these answers over.
I'm sorry. X over r.
What do you all think of that? Okay.
Make it seem that trying to look as hard.
No, this is pretty much it. I mean, I think these problems are the types of things where, like, if you understand it, it's actually pretty straightforward. When you don't see it, it can be very difficult. All right, so oops, I want to leave those instructions. Find the other 5 trig function values. So let's try something different. Let's try if cosecant theta is negative 4. And let's say a cosine of theta is greater than 0. here's what I'd like for us to do to start. I'd actually like for us to nail down the quadrant first. Let's try and nail down what quadrant we have to be in.
There's the C quadrant.
The which one?
C quadrant, sine,
So-
because you're the inverse sine function and your cosine has to be positive.
Okay, so cosine having to be positive, right? We can start with that. Cosine positive forces you into either quadrant 1 or 4.
And then the other one's the inverse of sine, and it's negative, so therefore it has to be a 4.
Let's say reciprocal,
Reciprocal.
because later on we actually do have an inverse function.
Inverse is a different function.
So this right here means 1 over sine theta equals -4, right? Isn't that what that means? That's what cosecant theta means, 1 over sine theta. And this would mean, wouldn't that mean that sine theta is -1/4? What did I do there? Solve for sine theta, just multiply both sides by sine theta, then divided both sides by -4. Algebraically went from here to here. So your sine is negative, right? Sine is negative means you can't be here, right? So we're not here. So we have to be in the fourth quadrant. Now that's going to help me draw my picture now. Because when I draw this, I know I'm in my fourth quadrant. How can I use that sine theta as -1/4 to figure out what my ordered pair is and then what my r is?
Y is -1 and your R is 4.
So -1 here can be my y, because remember, sine theta is y over r, right? So -1, and then I can say my radius is 4. And all I really need to do now is figure out my x. And I know my x has to be positive, don't I? Because I'm in the fourth quadrant, my x coordinate has to be positive.
So then you can just,
Pythagorean. So I can say x squared plus -1 squared must equal 4 squared. And so x squared equals 16 root is 15 here, and then x is plus or minus root 15, but it can't be the minus, right? It has to be the plus. So root 15 is x.
and then you can solve for right, then you got the rest of your name.
You've got everything you need once you have that. So let's write them all down. Do I need to write down sine theta? I already did that, didn't I? Okay, how about cosine theta? I don't have that, do I? So cosine theta would be root 15 over 4. And then tangent theta, I never had that, did I? Tangent theta,
Would be -1 over root,
-1 over root 15.
and then there's reciprocal.
And then reciprocals, we should be okay from here. How do y'all feel about this? I like it. We've pretty much have covered what's here. So why don't I give you an opportunity to have a good grade? So why don't we do a little group activity? I'm just going to put a couple of problems up on the board, and that way you can help your grade a little bit. And while I'm saying that, I'm going to pass these back. These are the quizzes you did in class the other day. Some of y'all didn't have a good grade on this, so the assignment I'm giving you now will kind of help offset that a little bit. Please just go through here. The grade for this is not on here, but it's in Canvas, okay? If you have any questions on how I got to that grade, just come by and talk with me. All right, so this is going to be an in-class assignment. Everyone's supposed to do their own work on their own do your own work on your own paper, but you can work together, all right?
You need to have something turn it in.
Yes, everyone needs to have something to turn in. And we still have, what, like 25 minutes? So I'm going to give you a couple of problems to mess with. First one, let's see here. Find all 6 trig values for this point right here. -7, 5. So that point is on the terminal side of an angle. We did that one to start class. Find tangent of 21 pi. 3, find cosine of 390 degrees. Let's make it negative 390 degrees. Number 4. Find secant of -5 pi over 2. And these are all to be done without calculators, by the way, okay? Number 5. If sine of theta is -2/3 and pi is less than theta is less than 2 pi, find the other 5. You know what I mean by find the other 5? Okay. 6. This will be the last one. If cotangent theta is -2 and secant of theta is greater than 0, find other 5. There you go. All right. You've got 20 minutes or so. See how it goes. I'm going to pass the sign-in sheet around also. Initial on today's date, which is the 12th. So skip over that blue column. All right, all right. If you have any questions,